Boys and girls,
That's a good look.
it's time.
Look at the camera like.
It's time for Tomas. Here, let's get a close-up. Come on. Okay, we're zooming in. Your head takes up a big part of the screen. Okay. Yeah. No. No.
My grandpa used to.
You leave him alone. What's wrong with you? All right, guys, what's going on?
Look like that. Used to.
One of those like, what are you doing, kid?
The evil eye.
His name was Aner. They called the Aner Eye.
The Aner eye.
The Aner
I've
Eye.
never heard that
Okay.
name in my life.
It sounds good. I have not.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Those
was,
those lovable, silly Swedes. Speak up if you're
Actually,
Swedish.
one of my favorite customers
say.
that we have is Swedish.
Yeah, Thomas.
Thomas. He's awesome.
Oh,
Nice
really?
guy.
Yeah, you remember Thomas, right?
Yeah.
He came and hung out for a couple months.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
Went to a couple of
Coming from
balls.
all over for
He's representing
Valhalla.
Sweden pretty good, I think.
Yeah. That guy was really cool.
He was nice.
Yeah, I actually got to drive him home. Drove him all the way home. Loving it. Loving
He's
it.
wanting to talk about game stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on. Finish your Tau Deathstar
Okay, so
story.
The Tau Deathstar story. We got cut off because we ran out of camera. I don't even know where I left off. The point, one of the big things that was in there is that he can, because Farsight's is Warlord, he can deep strike it. If he wants to deep strike it, he can deep strike it, and it doesn't scatter. So he'll go where he wants. And then everything will shoot. And then he gets to make an assault move where he spreads all of his guys out, because they're all jetpack infantry. So you can't really, unless he rolls poorly, you can't really hit him with lots of blast templates and hope that will work.
I was going to interject. There was people online that said to the last video, they were like, "Oh, what? I'll just hit him with like 4 of my Strength 8 AP3 templates or whatever, and that'll take care of that unit, no problem."
No.
But they have 2 up cover saves or something.
Well, no, they have. He also has Shadow Sun in there, who gives the Shadow Sun's unit both stealth and shrouding. So out in the open, everyone in the unit has a 4 cover save. So unless you're throwing something that has ignore cover saves, then they're gonna get a cover save. And if you're shooting through your own stuff, which will confer a 5+, then they add that they add stealth and shrouding to that 5+ and have a 2-up cover save. So if you're shooting through anything, you could be giving them a 2-up cover save.
Right.
And if he decides not to deep strike it, he uses Shadow Sun as his warlord, and she allows them to have a 3d6 assault move, and they hang out. The rest of his army is an Aegis defense line, 5 or 6 units of minimal strength fire warriors, and 2. Well, it's 2,500 point army first off. 2. What are the big guys? Riptides. 2 big Riptides, and 2 Eldar Farseers as allies, and then 2 units of Eldar jet bikes as the allied troop choices.
Not bad.
It's a really good combination. He's able to use those Eldar Farseers because they each get 3 powers. Uses them with divination powers, and also pulls a guide too from the Eldar powers, or tries to roll for Eldar powers to get fortune or whatever. And he's able to use all these powers in a combination to basically buff this unit because they're battle brothers.
This is Jordan doing this?
This is Jordan doing this.
Did you play against this the other night?
I did. I played against it the other night. I've actually had already beaten this list with one of my lists of silly Thunderfires. One of the things that everyone was like, "Oh, Thomas, use Whirlwind. Use Whirlwind." No, Whirlwinds are terrible. They're trash. 90 points of trash. 85. Well, in Space Marine Codex, 85 points. 85 points of trash, especially against this. Especially against this list. He would just drop and be like, "Oh, look, you don't get cover. Even if you're behind an Aegis defense line, I just ignore cover because I have this." Yeah, it's front armor 11, and I just hit you with the fusion blaster, and you're just gone. See ya. Oh yeah. Okay, so let me. There's two other things that really make this.
He leans in. He's like, "Now hold on here. Let me tell you something."
I get excited about it.
Listen to your uncle.
There's a bunch of special issue gear that's once per army or detachment or whatever. That's how it can bring it. They bring on a character and it confers these abilities to the entire unit it's with. So he has a guy who can confer Stubborn, Monster Hunter, or Tank Hunter to his unit. So he chooses. So that's this character sitting there, and every turn he'll decide, okay, I choose this ability. So if he thinks you're going to charge him, he's going to be stubborn. So he doesn't matter what he rolls, he's still going to get to use his leadership 10 to try and stay in a combat. On top of that, he has another guy who then brings another item which gives them hit and run. And hit and run now is based off your highest initiative. So he has initiative 5 guys in this unit. So unless he rolls a 6, so
Which
he's
would
stubborn.
fail anyway.
Right, so he's stubborn, so that means that he doesn't fail. He only fails if you roll an 11 or 12 if he loses combat. So you charge him with some sort of big unit that wants to get in close combat and do a bunch of attacks to him. Okay, whatever. He doesn't care. He's gonna be there. He'll automatically lookout sir all of his lookout sirs, because as long as there's a single bodyguard alive, any independent character in the unit automatically passes lookout sir.
Really?
Yes. And
What?
it goes
Oh
to
my
the,
gosh, this is a Death Star.
It is a Death Star, and it goes to the closest model. So he surrounds each of his independent characters with drones. So
Wow.
So the independent character's like, oh, I'm gonna take hits. No, that drone takes it for me.
Yeah.
Oh, now that drone takes it for me. They all have drones too. There's 18 drones in the unit.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So the drone, you have to basically kill 18 drones before you kill even a bodyguard.
What the heck?
Well, the bodyguards don't have the lookout, sir. But I mean, so the bodyguards could get hit first. But if he positions correctly, that doesn't really happen. So
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So then if you charge him, first off he gets to shoot you overwatch you, right? And if he's got the right psychic power because of his Eldar Farseers, he rolls foreboding. If he rolls foreboding and puts it on the unit, they're going to overwatch you at full ballistic skill. So now you're taking all of that nasty fire at full ballistic skill.
5, right?
Ballistic skill 5 because he's a drone controller, so all those drones are
And
ballistic
they're
skill 5.
They're gonna hit the next.
So yeah, he came down and he did like, I don't know, 40 wounds or 50 wounds to a unit of mine. And then also shot at 3 or 4 other things because all of his suits have
Like missiles and stuff.
well, they all have the
target lock?
so they can all shoot at something different. So then, yeah, right. So then once you've charged him, you do some damage. He does some damage. If you beat him in close combat, which is probable if you actually got a unit into close combat. I mean, because you could still be like, okay, I'm going to sacrifice this unit to take the Overwatch and then charge with the other unit, of course, right? Then.
By the way, you kind of need that nowadays.
You kind of have to try and play with that
Like
sacrificial
or Death
unit.
Coptas, for example.
Yeah, they're great.
Lisa was
They're
telling me
so
those are
good for that.
Because I'm looking at Wraithguard and I'm like,
Go wall the crap out of something, right?
it's you get the D size, which is a template weapon.
Yep.
And you have 10 Wraithguards, so it's D3 per. So on average, it's 20 hits.
There you go.
It's 20 hits.
There you go. Oh, now it's just eyes. Just tell him with forehead. That's good.
Evil forehead here.
It's brutal.
Okay, go
dude.
ahead.
It's brutal. So then you beat him. He doesn't roll an 11 or 12. That means he stays, and then he doesn't fall back. You can't roll to try and catch him. And then he's just like, okay, now I'm going to hit and run. And unless I roll a 6, I get to hit and run out of this unit and go 2d6 inches away. Or
So
maybe it's
that
3d6.
psychic power that lowers your leadership, would that contradict the stubborn?
I believe so. I
So the
believe
psychic power that lowers leadership is it Eldar psychic power?
it's one of their
Terrify?
Terrify or Horrify.
It lowers it
something
by
like that.
3.
I believe there's one that's a total.
Which one supersedes that or the stubborn?
Yeah.
Which one?
Well, yeah, that's a good question because the way that stubborn reads is that it ignores modifiers now. But I believe that the spirit of the rules means that it ignores modifiers based on you losing combat or
That's what I would think.
or for instance, a psychic power like the Blood Angels. Fear of the Darkness, which says you take a morale test at -4. So it would ignore that. But it doesn't, in my opinion, ignore things that that reduce your base leadership.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. If a psychic
It was a big
power,
argument thing at a tournament.
Yeah.
Actually.
If a psychic power it reduces your base leadership, I don't think Stubborn stops that. I think Stubborn says, oh well, now you get to still take it at your full leadership, which is this new number.
Well, I want to hear what these guys say about it.
Yeah, so good. There
See
you
what-
are.
see what
Internet.
their opinion is.
There's a question for you.
Please show your work.
Yeah.
Don't just try and find something somewhere
like
to
cite the book
support
or something.
what it is.
Like, yeah.
It's interesting.
I mean, it does come down to, it ultimately
There's
come
the
down to
Eldar
kind of opinion.
Hemlock, and what I noticed is Eldar missile launchers are pinning weapons.
Oh.
They're both versions of it are pinning as well. So it's like a regular Space Marine missile launcher, but it has pinning on
Actually,
it.
isn't it AP4 as well?
Is it?
I think it's strength 8 or strength 4 AP4 as well. I could be wrong about
I
that.
don't
It
think- I
it
think
used to
it's-
be.
Well, anyway,
If it's not now, it used to be.
there's got to be something about that with the Hemlock,
Yeah.
which Anyway.
So I have
All right,
another
go
thing
ahead.
for you too. Sorry,
Okay,
before
so are we done talking about the Death Star?
No.
Well, no.
I had another question. So
Yeah.
Okay.
another comment that people had online was, "Oh, well, he can bring that Death Star against me and deep strike it all he wants. I'm going to have my interceptor tanks, my broadsides with the interceptor, and all this stuff."
Oh right, the guy that said that. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
Well, he has a character in Iridium armor which has 2 up save. It's toughness 5, 2 up save,
Yeah.
and fill no pain. So that guy when I played against him actually tanked like 30 hits.
Yeah.
He made like 30 saves with the guy.
Well, that's kinda
which
crazy.
it's above average, but
Yeah.
the guy has 4. It has 4 wounds. It's gonna be able to tank a lot of wounds, and anything that's gonna
Incredible.
insta kill the guy, he's gonna be like, "I look out, sir, that." To
Die
this,
drone.
to this little drone right here. And the other thing that you have to remember too is that those guys that you're talking about that can intercept on him don't necessarily include marker lights unless you have marker drones in the unit, which is you're talking about a lot of points there to take away this cover save. And he's still going to end up with armor saves most of the time. Plus, even if you do roll all that stuff, do some damage, most of his unit is still going to be there.
Yeah.
It's still going to be
So
there.
how do you deal with this unit, Thomas?
It's a battle of attrition.
I like Ren's idea. Ren's idea is great.
Rin's idea was to counter it with bringing 6 Death Strike missiles from IG, and arguably that could work, right? Except for I don't know what the minimum distance on a Death Strike missile is. If it's 24 inches, he'll just deep strike within right in front of him, and you're totally done at that point. I don't know how well it would work, but it could very well work. There's other ways to beat it. I think other Death Stars might do fairly well against it. I
but
tried to bring
is
my own Death
40K
Stars.
a Death Star game now? By no means.
This is my opinion, and I've kind of touted this opinion a couple times. We're running a tournament right now, a series of tournaments right now that'll culminate on August 24th. It's the Crux Terminatus. We have one more qualifier, which is on the 20th of July at Pastor Games and Hobbies in Salt Lake City. $10.30, $25 if you want to come.
Good plug.
Awesome.
But anyway, it's a 2,500 point tournament. We started it last year before 6th edition came out with the idea that it was going to be a replacement for Ard Boys because VW quit doing Ard Boys. So, cool, right? The Ard Boys was really fun, big prizes, was free, you didn't have to have your painting or anything like that
You
done.
were trying to get the most broken combo.
You were trying to do competitive lists. It was competitive gaming.
Yeah.
Well, in 5th edition, higher point values balanced it out more for more armies. The lower point values, Space Marine armies especially, would suffer that doesn't have enough points. Can't put enough stuff on the table
I like it.
to counter. Says the
Yeah.
orc player. Says the orc player. To
Lower
counter,
the better.
to counter players that are playing horde armies.
Yeah.
And then also they would have the problem of in 5th edition that often horde armies would take longer to move and play.
Yeah.
And therefore my elite army doesn't get to use most of its strengths in a game because we've run out of time.
Late
The guy,
turns.
late turns, you miss them.
Yep.
So now in 6th edition, shooting is more prevalent, but also point values are dropping. So for a regular Space Marine army, like Dark Angels, now their Tactical Marines are 13, 14 points rather than 16 to 18 points for a troop choice. All of their other stuff is cheaper too. You get a level 2 librarian for the price of a level 1 librarian in any other codex now. You can bring their bikes. Their bikes are several points cheaper. So you're getting James Workshop is doing it as a marketing strategy to make more money, but what it's done to the game is it's turned it from being 2,500 points and higher points means a more balanced game. Now with Double Force Org and Allies, it actually is a less balanced game. It's more janky. You can afford to do silly stuff like this. If you go less than 2,000 points, his Death Star unit isn't even possible to bring. You can't bring it because you don't have 4 leaders. You can only bring 2 HQs and 1 allied HQ. Right? So he can do a smaller version of it, but a smaller version of it is going to balance. It's going to balance out. It's not going to be as big a deal. It's not going to be so over the top. And without double force org, that's huge. And because of the lower points values, more codexes can play it balanced at lesser points.
I have a question.
That's what I'm trying to say.
So what if they did tournaments that they could do higher points, but just not double force org or no allies or something?
Yeah, well,
You
That's
could
how
obviously
you
do
could have
that.
all the
That's
fun
how
stuff.
anything can be solved.
Yeah.
Tournament organizers.
You could, and
Deal with it.
and that's things that some people have done.
I like
before.
1850, but that
they
solves
get
bulkhead problems.
they
right?
get. I love 1850. I think 1850 is where
Strategic.
AdeptCon has always been,
Yep.
and it's where more tournaments are going to. Feast of Blades is at 1850 now.
Yeah.
And it's just the problem is if you do Feast of Blades did it last year. They did 1999 plus one. Basically, they were saying you can't bring it's 2,000 points. You can't bring double four sword.
Okay,
And
yeah.
there were tons of people, even people who don't like double four sword that were like, this is stupid because they're not playing the full rule set. And there was a lot of controversy over that. Yeah, just people were being bitchy people, and that's just a thing.
Yeah.
You're gonna deal with that no matter what, and the best thing in my opinion is to try and minimize it. So them going to 1850 doesn't bother me. Their open tournament is still 2,000 and allows double four sword. So if you want to play double four sword tournament at 2,000 points, you can. Anyway, so back to the Tau.
Yeah,
I've
sorry.
played him once before, and the list that I beat him with was using double four sword.
Yeah.
I had 6 Thunderfire cannons and six separate land speeder typhoons. And by the way, to the guys who were saying whirlwinds are awesome, no. Whirlwinds are terrible. If you're playing some sort of Space Marine Codex that can't use Thunderfire cannons, aka everyone but regular Space Marines, I pity you because whirlwinds are just meh. They're terrible in comparison to a Thunderfire cannon. And a Thunderfire cannon, I mean, it's just ungodly how powerful that thing is and how underused it is. And because of how underused it is, it's very likely to get buffed in the new Codex. Not.
It's so good though.
Because nobody plays with it.
Don't do it, G-Dub! Don't do it!
He hates Thunderfire
passion.
cannons. He hates them. And I told the way to beat a Thunderfire cannon, I've told him this, is to spread your models out.
Did you play with Tyranids against that at all?
Have you?
No, it was Necrons.
Did you play against
You
Necrons?
had and you just had 2.
Yeah.
And they were tough.
They're,
2.
Well, they got a buff in 6th edition too. They went from being an armor 10 vehicle to
Now,
being a
toughness
toughness 7, 2 wounds, 3 up
Right,
armor save.
artillery.
Artillery. Yeah. They're better than they were.
And then you get a Tech Marine that reinforces terrain and stuff.
Right, yeah. He
So
sits and
it
he's
has like a
just
2 up cover
look
save.
at this.
It's like,
3 up cover save.
Yeah, well, still.
If you're in ruins.
Yeah.
4 up if you're not. I mean, it's not that
That's
great,
awesome.
but it's pretty
Now,
good.
okay, I want to bring something up. And it's kind of like I have a bone to pick with you, Thomas.
All right.
I've got a problem with how you're running it.
Uh-oh.
So I
I don't know what you I'll get it.
go ahead. All right. So here's the executioner.
Yep.
But
Ready?
hold on. No, we haven't passed the verdict yet. No, do that again.
You haven't passed judgment yet.
All right. So I email Thomas, and I say, Thomas, I will make as a studio army. How am I doing? I will make as a studio army any army that you send me the list for.
Oh, yeah.
All you have to do is send me I'm going to order the models, I'm going to have it assembled, I'm going to have it painted, you're going to be able to use it, you're going to be able to take it to tournaments, you're going to be able to do bat reps with it. It's all going to be awesome.
Total wish list.
But nothing. It's like a week later, Thomas hasn't even bothered to tell me what it is his list is.
Huh.
Okay, so what do you have to say for yourself?
All right.
You said to me in person, and then I started thinking about it, and I almost wrote it yesterday, but then I thought, you know what, I need to step back and think again for a little bit.
Okay.
But I don't answer my email. If for some reason
Oh
you
my
have my
True, we
email,
did have this
Seriously?
discussion
no,
last week, remember?
but I don't answer it. I don't answer my email. You
Alright.
can get me on Facebook, and this is the thing
Is
that
the
kills me,
list
right?
coming?
Sean does
What?
this to me.
It's gotta
John
be
Feedy does
Facebook?
this to me. Shannon probably does it to me. Maybe even Rob does it.
You don't even know.
They send me stuff via email, and I'm just like, I don't look, whatever. And then they don't talk to me about it when I'm here in person.
So why do you
I'm
have
here
an
in
email?
person. You have to have email to sign up for other stuff,
What
dude.
do you think I'm
You
doing
do.
now?
Yeah, okay, so you're right. And guess what? I will give you it before I leave
Awesome.
today.
Okay, now.
Before I leave today, I'm going to give
Oh,
you
really?
it.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I have it in email format? Can you email it to me?
No, but I'll
Can you
do
Facebook
I
it
will,
to me?
He'll believe it on
I
your
will
desk.
write
I'm
it
on
on your
Facebook all the time.
I will write it on your computer. I will do
Oh, by
it
the
on
way,
your
people,
computer. I will get on your computer.
what?
and use it.
Okay. By the way, look me up on Facebook
There you go.
because I'm ready. I'm on Facebook all the time. I'm ready. Okay, so here we go. So I'm announcing this for the first time. So you BTP fans, I'm going to offer you the same thing as Thomas. Well, not the same thing.
Yeah,
You don't get to have it and play with it. What? Okay, but contact bluetablepainting@gmail.com, and in your subject line write Dream Army List, and put attention Sean. That'll make it easier to sort. Okay, hold on. Send me your competitive, fun, well-rounded army list. Not win at all costs, not Death Star.
Okay.
But something good. It has to be competitive. And send that on over. And I'm going to pick one. And I'm going to make that army. I'm going to announce the winner, and then I'm going to make that army.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, go ahead.
1850.
Okay, we're going to make it 1850.
1850
Thank you.
points,
That was a
because
good
that's
point.
going to preclude that's tournament size, and it will preclude the Death Stars.
Okay, fantastic. So yeah, send your army list. That's bluetablepainting@gmail.com. Dream Army List as the subject line. Attention Sean, SHAWN, and I will pick one and turn it into a studio army. Ooh, should I let people pick the color scheme too?
Oh.
We will take suggestions for the color scheme as well.
Are you gonna let everybody judge it, or are you just gonna pick it yourself?
What?
Like
Oh,
the
I
army
don't
list
know.
and
I don't know. Maybe I'll pick the ones I'm going to post these. I'm going to put these on the blog.
Too.
What?
You could let the fans vote too.
Yeah,
On
no,
all the ones that come
I
in.
think that's a great idea
Yeah.
because I'll order the figures and I'll be like, all right, what
'Cause you can write
color
it down to, like,
scheme
the
are
top
we going to
three
do?
and then have vote
Yeah,
on it.
and by the way, I'd actually like to do two.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm going to put that out. I'm going to make 2 studio armies, but we're going to do 1 Xenos and 1 Imperial,
That's cool.
which is roughly equal. We're going to count demons as Xenos. So humans and non-humans. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
What about Chaos Space Marines? Are those?
I would count those as Imperial. Yeah,
Okay,
I
alright.
put those on the, so Imperium of Man, humans, or other creatures. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll do 2 studio armies. Send your army lists, and I'll pick the best one. Maybe Thomas will help me. Maybe you'll help me too. That'll be good, and we'll make those.
Employees
We'll make
allowed to
those.
help out with this too, or?
Yes, employees are allowed to help out. You can assemble and paint them for free.
Oh,
Sounds great.
Yo, yeah, let's do that.
I'll jump right on board. Sign me up.
Yeah.
That sounds great. All right, so I gotta
That's
say,
awesome.
we started this Tau Deathstar before, like I
people
was
realized
coming
I
up with a
wasn't
list to play against this Death Star
Okay.
for the second time, and he'd made changes because we actually played the first time before the Eldar Codex came out.
Right.
So then he made changes once the Eldar Codex came out, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna make changes too. And so I was playing around with lists, and this is originally when we talked about this on the previous video was before I played, and then I played, and then what my results were. So I decided I'm gonna like counter his Death Star with a Death Star of my own. So I brought 10 Thunderhammernators, Shrike, Lysander, and Pedro Cantor, all for 1 unit,
Yeah.
right? And so Shrike was there because I'm gonna use his Chapter Tactics, which make fleeting Terminators,
Right.
which is kind of a silly thing.
Yeah.
And then Pedro Cantor was there to buff the unit itself with +1 attack, because it gives it a bubble around him. And then Lysander was there to tank hits and, of course, be Lysander. And so I put that, and I could the other thing, too, that I could do was all in the same unit, I could infiltrate them because of Shrike's ability.
Yeah, so how are you going to catch this Tau unit?
Right, well, okay, so he has 2 ways he can set it up. Either he can set it up in his corner, where he's setting all of his troops up, and his Riptides, and have it hidden back there.
With Aegises.
With an Aegis. Or he can deep strike it, and thus try and get closer to my Thunderfire cannons, because my Thunderfire cannons even outrange his Riptides, because they're 60-inch range. So
Awesome.
that was the kind of thing I'm trying to force him to do. I'm like, okay, I'm going to infiltrate and be as close as possible to his troop choices and Riptides, and he can then choose to keep his Death Star back there to help take those guys out, or just not even worry about it and deep strike his Death Star and try and come after my Thunderfires. Well, so we set up. I get to go first, and before his Death Star comes down, he decides to deep strike it. Before it even comes down, I managed with my Thunderfires to kill all but 4 of his models of troops. He has his 2 Riptides left, but I even kill a unit of bikes, and he has 4 Fire Warriors left, and then he's able to on turn 3 bring one more unit of bikes in, which is three bikes. But he decides to go ahead and deep strike, and I kind of set it up in such a way that he deep strikes kind of right in the middle, and so I will get the charge with my Death Star if my Death Star survives his shooting.
Right.
Well, he managed to throw out just a stupendous amount of firepower on my Death Star, and just killed him. I lost everything but 4 Terminators, I think.
This is where the story gets good. The story gets good here.
Poor placement on my part, but I keep going, and I hit him. He doesn't get to spread out enough from after shooting me. Yes.
I need to point something out.
Yes.
This is an important thing about the game in general, which is even when it looks terrible.
Oh yeah, it can turn around.
You just all you do is take a deep breath. I'm teaching my sons this. Just take a deep breath, and you just go, okay, how can I still win? That's it. Just think about how can I still win? How can I still move forward?
I don't think you really counted on this.
No. Okay,
Totally
first off, I get one turn where I've got 5 Thunderfire cannons that can place a template in the middle of his unit where he has 6 guys under it. So it's heavy 4. So if I hit, I'm going to hit 6 guys. One time I hit 4 times. I got 24 hits on them. Strength 5 ignores cover. Okay, so I'm wounding him on 3s because his majority toughness 4, and he has this guy tanking, this guy with the iridium armor tanking, and he must have tanked 40 wounds before he went down.
You counted it as 42.
Some ridiculous number of wounds.
42 wounding hits.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I did at least that much, if not more. But he tanked just so many of them before he died. And basically, my entire turn of shooting was just like
Kill that guy.
nothing. I killed 1 model.
And some
pretty
drums,
much.
right?
And some drums. It was terrible. It was awful. Worst thing ever that could have happened. And so I was like, well, this is pretty much. I'm pretty much down to. I mean, I got rid of that guy, and he was the guy who could get the unit stubborn, but. In Tank Hunter, but I'm like, man, now he's still got all these guys that can shoot, and he's just going to come and get me, right? And I'm like, man, everything's going poorly. So then he kills like most of 2 tactical squads, kills 2 Thunderfire cannons, finishes off my remnant of Death Star unit. And so now I'm like, okay, I've got 4, I've got like 2 little measly models out here in the middle, some tanks, and 4 Thunderfire cannons left, and I'm just
like a few tactical.
I'm like, this is going to go really badly, and he manages to spread out enough that he rolls poorly again on his jump pack move, but he still manages to spread out enough that my Thunderfire cannons can no longer hit more than 1 model per hit. So then I'm like, what am I going to do now? It's looking really grim. Yes, I'm up on kill points by a lot right now, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to lose it. I'm eventually here going to lose. He's got the time to keep coming and take me out. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'll try and tank shock him. Maybe if I tank shock him, I'll get some of his models to get closer together, so I can then template him and go, here's 2 hits or 3 hits or whatever per template. Right. Tank shock. He rolls his morale check. Double 6s.
No way.
So he's falling back with his Death Star unit, right? Super crazy chance.
What tank shocked him? Was it like a Razorback?
It was a Razorback. I tank shocked him with the Razorback.
Razorback for the win.
Razorback was like, Leroy!
Yep. So he falls back 3d6 inches, and I'm like,
is that man?
I have a second tank that can tank shock, and I remember, oh yes, if you're falling back, you auto fail morale checks. So I tank shock him again. And he rolls 3d6 to fall back and falls right off the table. I was like,
I was clapping too. I was like, that's freaking hilarious.
From death to glory in 1 roll, right?
That is incredible.
Now people on the internet are going to reply, well, that's why you don't put all your eggs in one basket and stuff. I'm the only person who's beat him with this.
Now go.
Okay, so he.
It's too good. It's too good, right?
I'm the only person. He's won a tournament with it, and he's not lost to anybody but me. And I've beaten him twice. Thunderfire cannons for the win. That's all I'm saying.
No. Leroy for the win. Now you got to write Leroy in that tank.
Right, but Thunderfires definitely did a lot of damage.
I don't know.
Actually, I think that tank already has a name.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Let me look.
Oh. This could make the
His
day.
name is Shocky Shockerton.
Tank-a-talker.
Something. Come on, guys. Caption this tank.
What's
Yeah. You guys name it. He'll
Yeah.
It's in the back. I already put a name on it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Here he is.
It's Kagan.
Kagan. Okay.
Kagan. The name of the tank is Kagan.
All
I
right.
even see I even got the name right. Can't really see that with the blurry camera.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
That's just too funny. When stuff like that happens, it's just like,
yeah, he was like,
That's incredible.
His
What the
face
heck?
got paler for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, well,
No way.
I concede. I mean, he asked me if he was like, well, hey, you want to keep playing to see what would happen if that hadn't worked? And I was like, no.
No.
What are you talking about?
That's
I was going to
awesome.
lose.
right.
That's like I had an opponent once kind of mopping me up, and he was like, "Oh, no, let's keep playing and see if I can table you." And I was like, "Yeah,
That's not
I'm so
fun.
sorry. That sounds not like fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to pass." That
Okay,
was
guys,
like
that's what the
15
game
years
is
ago.
really about. It's about having
Okay.
fun. It's not trying to
It is.
table
Oh, you know what
everybody.
I want to do? I want to take that Tau Manta
Yeah.
and just do a scenario game where the Manta's on one end,
Yeah. Unloading
just
stuff.
just unloading whatever the models are that come with the Manta,
Yeah.
and then you fight a battle just with that.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that
It's
would
like a
be cool.
1,500 point army in that thing,
Yeah.
right?
Well, the Manta would just sit there and shoot like it was hovering.
Oh. What kind of
And,
firepower does that thing have?
Ridiculous.
Oh.
It has a lot. It has a lot. But we'd make the other side have like Gargants, or if it were
Okay.
orcs or something like that. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be interesting to do a scenario with that while we still have it here.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay,
Still
so what
have
else, Thomas? This turned into more about the Tau.
Okay, so
Well, that's just
it's
too
really
hilarious.
good.
25
You know, the
minutes of that.
irony is that I played against that, and I haven't played against regular Tau.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna bring regular stuff and not have this ridiculous.
I like
Death Star.
fireworks. If I did Tau, I would just do like fireworks.
Well, he has. He still had some firewars, and fires are good, but he doesn't bring pathfinders or anything like that. There's no marker drones or anything like that because he has a piece of equipment that, as long as that guy doesn't shoot, the whole unit ignores cover.
Oh wow.
Did I not say that?
Oh, I don't think you did say that.
Yeah. The whole unit ignores cover when they fire.
That's wow. Oh,
Sean's kind of got this look on his face
That's
like, what?
amazing.
I didn't know
that's
that either.
silly.
Yeah, no, I mean, if I didn't say that before, that's a thing.
Yeah, that's.
They can shoot at 8 different targets, and they ignore cover. And he deep strikes where he wants.
Wow. I was thinking that. I was like, how do you kill all of your spears when they have jinx saves and stuff?
Oh yeah,
Did
now
Roberto
he
leave?
just
Okay.
brutally he just wiped him out in one single turn in the first game that we played.
Wow. That sounds like
That's
fun.
awesome. Okay, so talk to me about other armies that you guys are interested in.
Well, you know, actually,
Like,
Dave.
if you had a magic army wand. And wanted an
Same
army
time he
to
was
it,
playing against that
What
Death
would you
Star.
do?
I was playing against the all. What was it?
Eldar.
Well, no, you had the
Pretty
Wraith
much
Knights.
Wraith-
it was all
it's-
Wraith Guard, Wraith Knights.
Oh,
There's
okay.
a lot.
Nothing but.
Who's this?
No, you had
again?
spiders. He had spiders.
Oh, he had some spiders.
Is this Dave?
Dave.
Okay. So Dave and Thomas, I think people can assess that they're pretty competitive with their list writing and stuff.
Is Dave going to do Eandon then?
That's basically what that
He's
was,
got his
right?
own paint scheme, I think. I don't think he does
Well, it
Eandon,
doesn't
but it's
matter.
he
You have
plays
to
the
paint
Eandon
him like
rules.
that.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's got
there you
he's
go.
got the codex and he plays with the supplement rules.
Well, and here's what's great about that is the basic Primaris power for a Spirit Seer is Voice of Twilight. All friendly Wraith units within 12 inches get Battle Focus and Furious Charge.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
he didn't even need that. He brought
didn't
the
need
stuff
it,
that
'cause he has all the spells that let him do that anyway.
He gave him the wounds back. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah. So we were playing our game, and I actually did fairly well. So
Yes,
I'm not
you did.
as competitive as these guys. Well, I'm competitive, but I'm not as good as these guys. I'll put it
Not
that way.
yet.
Yeah. But
Hang out around us a little longer.
yeah. So I was playing with a couple of knob squads on bikes with pain boys and huge war bosses and stuff, and that. Okay, boss pulls. Yes, I know.
I'm gonna no. But okay, all right. So I'm
let
watching.
him-
I finished my game fairly quickly because of this bad roll for his part on
Yeah.
Jordan's part. And so I'm watching his game, which goes on for another like hour and a half after
it was,
or longer.
It was really close. It came
they-
down to the last dice roll of the game.
They were playing, and Mason played really well, and he brought more competitive things than he's brought in the past. So lots of ludas, lots of knobs on bikes,
Yep.
and he had 2 units with his 2 cool war boss models, and he rolls up and both times somehow fails a morale test. With
Well, he
the-
lowered my leadership.
Okay, so you lowered your leadership with one of their abilities.
Terrifier, whatever. It is.
Right, but one of the units just failed the regular.
Yeah, it's true. I rolled like 11.
He rolled like
I'm
11.
kind of renowned for rolling 5s and 6s.
Was falling back with the unit,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, why don't you have a boss pull? He's like, it's like 10 points. I'm like, and it will give a wound. I'm like, you get an invulnerable save and a feel no pain. It's the same as if you had.
My argument
why did
was,
you-
I was like, I have like a 9-up leadership. How am I going to fail that? And I was like, I failed it like 4 times in a row. I was like,
Right.
oh my god!
He almost lost a unit of bikes off the table.
Yeah,
Like they were like
literally
at the
that
edge of the
close.
table because he didn't have a boss pole. And if he'd had a boss pole, he probably would have won that game.
Because I was like, oh, no, I would. All right, Thomas, shut up.
Just saying, the boss pole you probably would have
No,
won
I
the
mean,
game
that's
if you
what I said at
had
the
boss-
time, not saying
right?
it right now.
Because they're not fearless.
Yeah.
They're not fearless because you don't have enough guys, and
Yeah.
so you need to be able to. And the fact that you can even boss pole at all, that's like huge.
Yeah.
Space Marines don't have anything like that.
You can reroll leadership
Well, I mean,
tests.
They
Well,
have,
don't need
you
to.
can bring a command. You can bring a command squad, but it's really annoying.
But you automatically rally them.
I do automatically rally, but so I mean that's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't automatically rally,
And you can still do stuff. with
and
your
I can
rally.
still act normally.
Marines.
Shut up! Shut up!
Marines.
Shut up! You're gonna play. You know you're gonna play Marines if they bring out a.
It's true. I do
a
love my white
supplement of
scars.
the white scars.
Okay,
You know
so
you're
you're
playing.
gonna redo white scars
I
would be your
really,
next
really
thing.
miss. I sold mine right before I came out here.
Oh
I really
yeah.
miss them.
Well, you needed the money.
And I can, and since working here, I can convert even better than what I did before.
Right.
And I can paint better than I did before.
So white scars. What about you, Thomas?
Well, I'm gonna be playing. I'm trying to. I'm doing Blood Angels right now, and all of my armies I do the pre-Heresy Emperor's Children look, but they're Blood Angels. They count as Blood Angels, right? So I've got.
But the question was, if you're going to do something different, what would you do?
Well, I play
Well, you
different
want a
armies.
chapter, right? Chapter's worth of.
Yeah.
extra
How about
models.
Xenos? Any
No,
Xenos
I
in
don't.
your
I
future?
don't know. I'm power armor only. So that
Okay.
means I actually would play Sisters of Battle.
You're the opposite of me then.
No, yeah,
'Cause I don't.
Yeah, no. Like,
What,
I'll
what
play,
Space
I'll play
Marine
through-
army have I ever owned? Have you ever seen me playing
Dark Angels?
anything? Whatever.
Did
No,
you ever
you
play
guys
Dark
made
Angels?
that.
But
I
didn't
know
you
I
guys
never
play it?
ended up playing it.
You
No,
didn't play it?
I didn't.
No, it's
No,
It's
I
actually
was
a lot of
going to.
fun.
sold before he played it.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, I mean, that's good, but that's too bad
No,
that
it's
you
great.
can play it.
The no, I don't like as a rule of my own miniatures. My goal in life for the future, and maybe I've seen this
Nice.
on a video,
Okay.
is to have 10,000. Have the original number before before GW retcon
Okay.
the numbers is to have the entire Emperor's Children Legion.
10,000.
10,000 space.
There's a
Marines.
lot in this house, I'll tell you that.
I do have a lot of space marines already,
It's kind of ridiculous.
but some
10,000?
Yeah, and I still have a ton of them in box, right?
Right. Well,
But-
at $3 per Space Marine, that's $30,000 just for the Space Marines.
Totally
No,
worth it.
I am not saying it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I believe in you, Thomas.
So over the
I
years,
believe it will happen.
Thank you. Over the years that I've been working on this idea, it's kind of morphed a little bit so that I do it based on because I don't want to play the
Well, you
same
get some things
codex.
as gifts.
Yeah,
So it's probably, when it comes out to it, it's like you get birthday presents or Christmas presents and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Half of it might be
Absolutely.
presents or
Yeah.
like prize winning stuff,
Absolutely.
things like that.
Well,
You
there's
know,
a whole
thing.
lot of atoms in the universe.
Yeah. If you
So-
if you dream it, you can get it.
That's
why
right.
You can put it that way.
That's right. I agree.
So anyway, I get tired of playing the same thing, so I've been playing Blood Angels lately. But Blood Angels are really hard to play in 6th edition. To play them the way you play them in 5th edition.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to go with something else. So I've been focusing on that, working on that. So I'm going to try and finish my company of them up, so at least 100 of them, before the new Space Marine Codex comes out. And I'm probably about halfway there right now. Not painted, but they'll all be built, for instance, and primed. But right now, the big thing that I'm doing is when I play a tournament, I'm playing with regular Space Marines because I love Thunderfire cannons, and I've spent a lot of time and effort on them, and they may just go away with the new Codex.
I sure hope so.
He sure hopes so. So I've been playing mainly with Space Marines and then some sort of ally. And for a long time I was like, I can't figure out why I would want to bring allies with the Space Marines here, and I can't find a way to make them effective. And then I stumbled upon Corbulo. And Corbulo.
Could you say that again?
Corbulo.
Is that-
People are
every
going to
time.
make that their ringtone. Corbulo. Oh, excuse me, Thomas.
Corbulo is amazing. He's amazing. Totally worth it. Best character in the Blood Angel Codex these days, in my opinion. But he's worth bringing. Basically, you bring a 130 point Reclusiarch and a unit of Death Company and Corbulo as the allies. You're just like, okay, here's my ally.
I was thinking about Corbulo.
It's like 400 points.
Wouldn't
Boom.
Awesome. Josh's Kroot army with sniper rifles kind of be able to take him out?
You still look out, sir.
Yeah, it's a 2-up, and if he does, because they all have sniper rifles, if you get so many of them because they're cheap.
Well, yeah, Corbulo's already in front, so Corbulo's already going to be the person that takes him. Okay, so
If
let's
they
say
roll 6s, they're
it doesn't-
AP, whatever.
Oh,
right?
it doesn't matter. Corbulo has a 2-up fill no pain. So he's like, oh, I don't care if it's AP2. You took away my 3-up armor save. I'm still gonna just make these 2-up saves.
I mean, you'll fail Terminator saves eventually.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Eventually I will, but he tanks a lot.
Yeah.
He tanks a lot, and I don't even have the record. Feedy has the record.
Oh, yeah?
Feedy played against the Dark Angel player who had the Banner of Devastation and put 3 units of 40, basically 120 shots into Corbulo. Corbulo made 100 saves.
Oh, it's so gross.
Yeah, in one game, Corbulo still, at the end of the game, Corbulo was fighting single-handedly, all by himself, was in a challenge fighting Azrael one-on-one after Corbulo had saved like 100 saves or something. I think that's exactly what the record is. Maybe 101 or something like that. Just ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
So, yeah, if you're playing some sort of Space Marines other than Blood Angels, Corbulo, a Death Company, and a Reclusiarch, totally.
Isn't the Demon Prince within a challenge just smash him too?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's still situations where Corbulo is going to die, right? But he'll tank all of that fire, which usually is the killer of guys that have, just somebody's going to throw mass fire at you. He just tanks that. He's just like, whatever.
I feel like if somebody was smart, they would just not even bother shooting at that unit and just try to smash him with a Demon Prince or something.
You're right. Of course he would. But the Demon Prince has to worry that he's going against Death Company, and if you put a couple of Power Fists in there in that Death Company, those Death Company are really kind of like, that Demon Prince is like, well, I can go in there and
challenge,
and he has to smash attack to get rid of Corbulo's 2-up Feel No Pain.
Yeah.
Which means that if he doesn't have a Black Mace or something like that, he's only going to get like 4 attacks. He hits on 3s, he wounds on 2s. Statistics say he kills like 3 guys, right? Then they all come back with attacks, and Corbulo's strength 5 with Rending. The Reclusiarch's going to be strength 6.
5?
His sword is strength 5. It's a strength 5 chainsword.
Unnecessary.
All the Death Company are going to hit. Everyone's going to hit him on 4s because they're all weapon skill 5.
Yeah.
And then you put a couple of Power Fists in there, and the Power Fists are like, okay, we hit on 4s and we wound him on 2s. He gets a 5-up invulnerable save, but he's only got 4 wounds.
Yeah.
So maybe he just dies from doing that. It's not an exchange that I personally, as a player, would be comfortable making. I'm not going to send a Demon Prince against a Death Company, even if I charge. Okay, missiles. You shoot him with missiles because Corbulo's like, okay, I have to look out, sir, and let this guy behind me die. Because
look out, sir,
he's only toughness 4, so we'll get rid of his Feel No Pain.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, he's killable. There's no doubt that he's killable.
Yeah.
It's just a question of, are you willing to put the firepower into him? And it's one of those situations where it's kind of like, as a player, I'll put Corbulo out there in front of my army, and if I'm doing a shooting army, then he's the countercharge unit. They're the guys that are like, come out here and come get us.
Yeah.
Spend your time shooting this instead of shooting my Thunderfire cannons.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
That's what you've been finding is a better way to go is with shooty soldiers, right?
Yeah, I've had to switch to shooty Blood Angels, and the advantage of shooty Blood Angels over regular Space Marines, for instance, is their Devastator weapons are a tad bit cheaper, and you can bring Sanguinary Priests and give them Feel No Pain. So basically, you're playing like a regular Space Marine, except for you have Feel No Pain. So that can be good. It can be really good. It's just their librarians can take divination powers. Regular Space Marines can't. So it's like, and people might be saying right now, well, why aren't you just playing Dark Angels? Well, eventually I'll get around to playing Dark Angels, just not now.
You like the Emperor's Children version of Dark Angels?
Yes. I actually even have a prototype painted for them. Here he is. The idea was that he's highlighted from below rather than from above.
Okay.
So
actually, after playing that army at Adepticon, I really liked it.
Dark Angels
I like the way
really
it plays
cool.
A lot.
The Dark Angel bikers, and if you can synergize
the
bikers
the
and stuff, they're brutal. Bringing Azrael is totally worth it. He makes one unit have a 4 invulnerable save. He allows you to bring both bikes and Terminators as troops.
Librarians are awesome.
Librarians are amazing.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, you put a librarian on a bike, and you give it, and he's level 2.
They were always
and you hope that he gets precog.
Yep.
Because that means that he has a rerollable 3-up invulnerable save if you give him a displacer field, and he's toughness 5.
Wow.
So he's basically like Eldrad, but toughness 5 instead.
Right.
It's pretty good.
So, as the new codexes come out, all the armies just get awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And you fight tooth and nail.
The lackluster.
Charles giving me a look right now because I was whining this morning.
the lackluster book so far of 6th edition books, in my opinion, is the Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah, that was kind of.
It
did feel kind of like a letdown.
They're kind of
out
lackluster.
Out of all the books there are currently published for 40K, which one is
all the
the
ones
lowest?
that are new.
No, I understand.
But
I knew
which
that's
one's-
what you meant this time,
Right.
but I meant out of all of them, what would you say?
Is the worst?
Yeah. Worst book. Weakest book.
Weakest book.
Chaos, right? Well, no.
Nids are pretty weak, but Nids also can synergize the right way to bring some really. They got better with 6th edition. Somebody
They sure did.
in the background, Zachary's saying Sisters of Battle, and it's probably Sisters of Battle, but I haven't played their list. I haven't
Right.
played with them since
Nobody even
6th edition.
tried.
Well,
I-
nobody's
yeah,
trying.
just
Well,
don't
Because
see
they
it.
took
all over
they
the
took,
place.
they took their codex
All
away from them and gave them this kind of meh thing. But it's very possible this meh thing is really good with 6th edition. I played against a guy at Feast of Blades last year who brought IG with Allied Sisters, and Saint Celestine is really annoying. I can't say that the rest of the like if I'd been playing flat against flat sisters that they would have been really that great, but Saint Celestine at least is just really annoying. Exorcist are still really good.
Wouldn't all
I mean,
those
I don't
flamers be good though for Wall of Death?
All Flamers could be really
Because you have
good.
a ton of them.
It could be a situation where the sisters they're cheap and they have power armor, so they just sit there and they let you come to them, and then they have stuff like Wall of Death.
Yeah.
That makes it really nasty to charge.
Roll their invulnerability save.
It's a 6-up invuln. I don't.
Oh, yeah, it's
you know, everyone's talking. Oh yeah, they give him 6-up invuln. I'm sorry, dude. If they give him 5-up invuln like demons, worth it. 6-up invuln is one of those. It's a situation where I beat Jordan because he rolled a bad morale check once, and yet he's lost with that army twice, both times against me, and every other time he's played it, he's won. So really, it's like one of those situations like, okay, so your Sisters of Battle tank just made a 6-up invuln. That's pretty annoying, but it's not gonna. It's only going to matter one game
not
in
gonna
like
be
10.
the
You
odds.
can't count on it.
It's not going to help. It doesn't help.
Okay,
It's
so
not worth
after
mentioning.
Sisters, what's the next one?
Next worst one. Blood Angels is pretty low on that list.
Is
Black
it
Templar?
really?
Black Templars, right now, Black Templars are kind of one of those gray spots. Rules is written, they have some pretty ridiculous stuff right now.
Those are pretty funny.
So
But
Was I supposed to?
But,
Before I left.
I was supposed to talk to you.
Oh yeah. All right.
But Blood Angels lost a lot
Hold on
of
a
its
second,
ability.
guys.
Go ahead.